Today we're going to do some sentence correction practice questions, and we're going to focus on hard modifier questions. And what you're going to find is these really come down to one particular sentence structure that is everywhere on the GMAT. In fact, it is the most important sentence structure on the entire test. So I'm going to show you what that is and how it works. And after you understand it, I think you're going to find that it's surprisingly simple. And just for joining me today, I have a free gift for you. 3 GMAT myths that are holding back your score. As I'm sure you've noticed, the internet is full of misinformation about the GMAT. And some of it, frankly, doesn't matter, but some of it is actually pretty harmful. So what I've done is I've taken 3 of the most persistent and frankly most harmful myths. I've deconstructed them so that you can understand how the test actually works. Because when you understand how the test really works, your score is going to go up. So this is going to help you a lot, and it's completely free. You can download it right in the description. Okay, let's get on to those sentence corrections. The single most important sentence structure on the entire GMAT is this. The intro phrase with comma. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to explain what it is. Intro phrases with commas look like this. A leading figure of the Enlightenment, comma, discovered by scientists in the 1890s, comma, capable of reaching 110 stories, comma, quiet and stealthy, comma. Notice that none of these phrases have the main subject or verb of the sentence. They're really just introductions, and what they're really doing is they're just describing something. They're modifying something. And intro phrases with commas work like this. What I want you to do is always ask yourself who or what, and then what we want to see is the answer to that question immediately after the comma. For example, who was a leading figure of the Enlightenment? John Locke. What was discovered by scientists in the 1780s? Uranium. What is capable of reaching 110 stories? Hydraulic lifts. What is quiet and stealthy? The rare African field mouse. Now, would we be most comfortable if we just got African field mouse right after the comma? You bet we would. But sometimes you have to live with an adjective or something in front of it. But mostly we want the answer to the question immediately after the comma. So let's take a look at some examples, and you're going to find this is incredibly helpful. Rivaling the pyramids of Egypt and even the ancient cities of the Maya as an achievement, the army of terracotta warriors created to protect King Shi Huang, China's first emperor, in his afterlife is more than 2,000 years old and took 700,000 artisans more than 36 years to complete. All right, do we have an intro phrase with a comma? Yeah, we absolutely do. So the question is, who or what rivals the pyramids of Egypt and the ancient cities of the Maya? I think it's the army of terracotta warriors. A kind of gets this thing right, so we're going to keep A around. B doesn't get it right. B has the emperor rivals the pyramids of Egypt and the ancient cities of Maya. That's not true. C has 700,000 artisans rival the pyramids of Egypt and the ancient cities of the Maya. That's not right. D has more than 2,000 years ago and 700,000 artisans rivaling the pyramids of Egypt and the cities of Maya. That's clearly not right. And E has like more than 36 years, are rivaling the pyramids of Egypt and the ancient cities of the Maya. That's not right either. It's the army of terracotta warriors. A is correct. Well done. Long overshadowed by the Maya and the Aztec civilizations, historians are now exploring the more ancient Olmec culture for the legacy it had for succeeding Mesoamerican societies. All right, do we have an intro phrase with a comma? We absolutely do. Long overshadowed by the Maya and Aztec civilizations. Who or what was long overshadowed by the Maya and Aztec civilizations? As written, they're trying to convince us that historians were. I don't think that's true. I think what they mean is that Olmec culture was overshadowed by the Maya and Aztec civilizations. So A is out. B has a similar problem. I don't think it's historians' exploration that was long overshadowed by the Maya and Aztec civilizations. Now, C is close, but not quite. C says it's the legacy that was long overshadowed. But what they really mean is the Olmec culture, not the legacy. So C is out. D has the more ancient Olmec culture. Okay. E has the Olmec culture. All right. D and E both work in that regard. So what do we like better, D or E? Well, as it turns out, E has some problems. E says Olmec culture is more ancient. More ancient than what? Here's the problem. When you put stuff after the thing you're modifying, after Olmec culture, it doesn't really refer back to the intro phrase anymore. So according to GMAT grammar, more ancient does not refer back to the Maya and Aztec civilizations because more ancient comes after the words Olmec culture. Notice that D puts more ancient before the words Olmec culture. So more ancient does refer back to the Maya and Aztec civilizations in answer choice D. Plus, D uses a sentence structure we like a lot. We get the subject followed by the verb. Olmec culture is now being explored. We love that. See how E handles the same thing. It has like historians are now exploring. So somehow like the subject is kind of like, now we're talking about historians. We really want to talk about Olmec culture. So D is better, first of all, because we need more ancient before Olmec culture, and also we're highly attracted to Olmec culture is now being explored. So for us, D is correct. All right, well done. In his Uses of Enchantment in 1976, it was psychologist Bruno Bettelheim's assertion that the apparently cruel and arbitrary nature of many fairy tales actually are an instructive reflection of a child's natural and necessary killing off of successive phases in his or her own development. Okay, do we have an intro phrase with a comma? We absolutely do in his Uses of Enchantment. Who is his? His must be psychologist Bruno Bettelheim, but that's not what we get. We get Bruno Bettelheim's assertion. We get the assertion. We don't want the assertion. We want the guy. That means A is out. That means B is out because B also says it's the assertion. C is also out because C also says it's the assertion. D and E both do it correctly. D gives us psychologist Bruno Bettelheim. E gives us psychologist Bruno Bettelheim. So between D and E, which one do we like better? What are the differences between D and E? Well, D uses the verb are, E uses the verb is. So D is plural, E is singular. All right, well, what is the subject of this sentence? They want you to think the subject of the sentence is fairy tales, but it is not. The subject of this sentence is nature. Nature is singular, so E is correct. Here's the thing though, why isn't the subject of the sentence fairy tales? The reason is fairy tales is in the prepositional phrase. If you think you found the subject of the sentence and the subject is in a prepositional phrase, you have not. Back up out of that prepositional phrase, the actual subject of the sentence is almost always the word right before the preposition, in this case, nature. All right, very nicely done. Always look out for intro phrases with commas. They come up all the time on the test, and we like that because they're pretty easy to diagnose. Just always ask who or what, and that's the thing that we want immediately after the comma. Okay, very nice job. So the big takeaway here is intro phrases with commas. They're everywhere on the test, and also they're either right or they're wrong. So they're this great tool for you to immediately eliminate wrong answer choices and move very quickly through sentence correction questions. Okay, great job. We'll see you next time.